These are pyramids, not in Egypt, not in Sudan, in Nigeria, built not from stone, but from groundnuts. At their peak, these structures were earning Nigeria more foreign income than most African countries combined. Today, Nigeria imports ground oil from Argentina. What happened in between is a story of colonial extraction, government betrayal, and oil discovery that quietly destroyed everything it was supposed to replace. This is that story. To understand what was lost, you have to first understand what existed. In the 1950s, the groundnut pyramids of Kano were not a curiosity. They were an economic engine. Farmers across northern Nigeria harvested groundnuts on a scale the world had never seen from a single African nation. The bags were transported by rail to Kano, stacked by hand into pyramids that rose several stories high, and exported across the world. At the peak production, Nigeria was exporting over 1 million tons of groundnuts annually. But groundnuts weren't the only thing. Cocoa from the west was keeping European chocolate companies alive. Palm oil from the east was filling British factories' lines. Post-war Europe was still pulling itself out of rubble. It needed food. It needed raw materials. Nigeria was providing all of it. This country was not receiving foreign aid. It was the aid. And by 1960, the year of independence, Nigeria was the single largest exporter of groundnuts on the planet. Not the largest in Africa, the largest on the planet. So what dismantled all of it? 3 things. They happened in the wrong order, at the wrong time, for the wrong people. The first thing was already happening before independence even arrived. Britain wasn't just buying Nigerian groundnuts, they were buying them cheap, processing them in British factories and selling the finished oil across Europe at 10 times the value. Nigeria did the planting, the harvesting, the loading. Britain did the refining, the packaging, the profiting. But it gets worse. The marketing boards, the government bodies supposedly created to protect Nigerian farmers, were quietly telling those same farmers that world prices were lower than they actually were, pocketing the difference quietly for years. The farmers were working harder than anyone else in the entire chain and taking home the least from it. This was the hidden trap inside the prosperity. Nigeria looked successful, the pyramids looked impressive, but the real wealth was always leaving. Then, in 1956, something happened that guaranteed it never came back. Oloibiri, a small community in the Niger Delta, oil. The moment it came out of that ground in commercial quantities, the entire direction of the country pivoted, not slowly, overnight. Shell arrived, then BP, then Gulf Oil. They brought money, they brought technology, and they brought something more dangerous than either of those things. A new priority. Agriculture budgets were quietly cut. The roads and railways connecting northern farmers to export markets started deteriorating. The political attention that had once celebrated those pyramids shifted south toward pipelines. Nobody announced it. There was no speech, no policy, no moment anyone could point to and say, that is when they abandoned agriculture. It just happened until economists gave it a name, the Dutch disease. When a country discovers something worth far more than everything else it produces, the entire economy reorganizes around that one thing. The currency strengthens, and suddenly, groundnuts, cocoa, palm oil become too expensive for the world to buy. The farmers didn't fail. The system was quietly dismantled around them while they were still standing in their fields. By the mid-1970s, the pyramids were gone. Not destroyed, not stolen, just never restocked. The land was still fertile. The farmers were still there. The north could still grow groundnuts. But the infrastructure that connected them to the world had been taken apart while everyone was looking somewhere else. No transition plan, no alternative economy built for the millions of northerners whose entire livelihood had been agriculture. They were left with the same land, the same skills, and no market. Pyramids didn't fall. They were never rebuilt after someone decided they weren't profitable enough to matter anymore.